In this video, we're going to solve problem 9.1a. Whenever there's a video with a table or a problem with a table like this that needs filling in, I always recommend students go to my website, tonybell.com, click the PDF link. There's no sign in, no sign up, and you can fill in the table yourself directly. It's way better for you to do it than to just watch me do it. What you'll notice when you go to the website is there's lots of videos like 9.1a where the video is free, but there are plenty that only have a members only video. If you're finding you're getting great value out of the free videos, I hope you'll consider a channel membership. All right, thanks for watching, and let's jump into the problem. Let's jump into problem 9.1a. We're doing debt investments. Debt investments means in this class, we're buying bonds. And when you buy bonds, when you say debt investment, you're the lender. You're loaning somebody money. With bonds, they periodically pay you back interest, and at the end, they give you your money back. So that's the idea of the bond. Now, it really does matter your intention when you buy it. Some people buy bonds with the intention of like trading them. Well, if you're buying the bond to trade like a stock, you account for it differently than if you buy it and you treat it like a loan that you're just going to wait to get paid back. So in this 9.1a, we do it like we're doing it like a loan. We're waiting to get paid back at the end. 9.2, we're going to trade it like a stock, and you'll see we account for it differently. On January 1st, 2031, Kamloops Corp purchases bonds issued by Global Inc. So again, purchases bond, we're lending Global Inc. money with the intention to hold them till maturity, or hold them and they'll pay us back at the end. Details are below. The face value of the bond is $100,000, so they're at the end of this bond, they're going to pay us $100,000. The coupon rate is 5%, paid annually, so they're going to pay us $100,000 times 5%, $5,000 cash payments every year, and it's paid annually once a year. Bonds are often semi-annual. In this chapter of the class, we're doing all our bonds annual. Just to make the math, like fewer journal entries, essentially. Maturity, 3 years from now. Market rate is 6%. Okay, the coupon rate's 5, the market rate's 6. What is that telling us? It's saying for similar companies to Global, if they're in the debt market, they're looking to borrow money, typically they're having to borrow at 6% for a company of this profile. This company's only offering 5%. It's not an attractive bond, meaning nobody's going to buy it unless it's offered at a discount. So we are going to buy this bond for some amount less than the face value, less than $100,000. Because the coupon rate's 5% is lower than the market rate 6%, Kamloops Corp pays less than the face value, as I said. The purchase price is calculated to be $97,327. So we buy $100,000 bonds for $97,000. The company has December 31st fiscal year end. It says complete the investment amortization schedule below. This is an effective interest table. It's very similar if you were a borrower of bonds. If you've done those before, this is a very similar process. So what's our bond carrying amount? The bond carrying amount is what you pay to buy the bond. $97,327. What is the interest payment? Well, it's the face value times the coupon, $5,000. So we're going to receive a $5,000 payment, every year, right, until the end of this bond. What's the interest revenue? Okay, the interest revenue is not based on the coupon, it's based on the market rate of interest. So you take that market rate, you multiply by the bond carrying amount. So 6% times 97327, 58, we're going to round up, 5840. But wait, you say, I got paid $5,000 in interest. Why do I have $5,800 in interest revenue? And the answer is, we loan them $97,000. They're going to pay us back $100,000. There's an extra like $2,600 they're going to pay us, $2,673, right? They're having to pay us back an extra $2,600. That extra amount they pay back is extra interest. And so we'll call it, even though I don't get the money until the end, we're going to call it interest revenue that we earn over the life of the bond. And we use this effective interest table to figure out how much we're earning. So I get paid $5,000, but I earn $5,840 in interest. And that's part of this extra $2,600 that I'm going to receive over the 3 years. So the discount amortization is just the difference between the revenue and the payment. It's $840. And what's my bond carrying amount? Well, my bond is going to work its way up to the face value. So in this cell, I'm expecting to be writing $100,000. Again, it might be off by a dollar or two because of rounding, but I'm expecting to be around $100,000. And so I have to work my bond's carrying amount up there. And the way it grows is by it's not a premium, but the discount amortization. So 97,327 plus 840, 98,167, 98,167. Okay, let's move on to the next payment. And once you do a few of these, it becomes very straightforward. So our payments are the same. It's $100,000, 5% coupon rate, $5,000. They call bonds fixed income because they offer the same cash flow. It's a boring investment, right? It doesn't fluctuate wildly like stocks do, or might. Interest revenue, you take your preceding bond carrying amount, 98,167, and multiply by the market rate. So 98,167 times 0.06. You do have to be careful if the bond's semi-annual. There's a lot of dividing by 2 that goes on because lots of bonds are semi-annual, but this one's not, so it's pretty straightforward, 58.90. So our discount amortization here is $890, meaning our bond gets $890 closer to the $100,000 it's going to be at the end. So 98,167 plus 890, 99,057. Okay, last one. My interest payment, still the same old boring payment. The interest revenue, 6% of 99,000, 99,057 times 0.06, 5943, 5943. So the difference here is 943, right? It's $5,000 payment, but $5,900 in interest revenue. So 943 goes to change the carrying amount of the bond, 99,057 plus 943, boom, $100,000. That's right where I was hoping to be. It doesn't mean for sure I got it right, but a very good sign that these numbers are right is that it worked out to $100,000 even. Okay, so that's it for this part. Part B says do journal entries. Journal entry for pretty much every entry for the life of this bond. I think I wanted to change my grid lines, make them a little tighter. There we go. Okay, so the first journal entry is we bought a bond. Debit on January 1st, 2031, debit investment in bonds. Called this, I've seen this referred to as like debt investments, investment in bonds. But I'll call it investment in bonds in our class. 97,327. Credit cash. 97,327. I don't think it said cash, but in the absence of other information, I think that's a reasonable assumption. I think that's probably the best assumption. December 31st, 2031. Well, these next three, it says do the first, second, and final interest payments. Well, that's these 3 lines, right? The first line is this. We captured that in our first journal entry. Now we got to do the next 3. December 31st, 2031, December 31st, 2032, and December 31st, 2033. And that's those 3 bullet points there. So let's do 2031 interest payment. We loan the money. We're getting cash here. So debit cash, $5,000. Interest revenue, $58.40. Okay, I'm going to leave a bit of space here. I'm going to credit interest rev. So I'm going to have another debit here. So I'm going to credit interest rev, $58.40. And then you can see we're off by $840, and it's discount amortization. You might think, oh, debit discount. No. We're doing this. They call it the net method, and we just debit the investment directly. We say our investment's got to grow to $100,000. So how do I make it grow? Well, I grow it by $840, then $890, then $943. We debit the investment in bonds. Now, you are allowed, if you remember how discounts and premiums work and you want to debit and credit discounts and premiums, you absolutely can do that here. You absolutely can do that here. Most companies wouldn't, and most textbooks don't, so that's why I'm doing it this way. Okay. December 31st, 2032. So I'm just pulling information off this line. Same amount for cash, 5,000. Interest rev, 58.90. And the difference, 890, goes to my investment, debit investment in bonds. Last but not least, December 31st, one more debit to cash, credit interest rev. So debit cash 5, credit interest rev 59.43. And the difference, 943, goes to our investment. So if you were to do a T account for our investment, whoops, sorry, it's a little messy, investment. I'm not going to say investment in bonds, just investment. You would see it was 97,327, just debit 97,327 right there. And then a bunch of debits, debit by 840, debit by 890, and debit by 943. You would see by the time we get to that last journal entry, it adds up to $100,000, which makes sense. That's the carrying amount of our bond. Well, now we redeem the bond. And what does redeem the bond mean? It means we get paid back. We loan them money. Now they pay us back. So they paid us these interest payments along the way, 5, 5, and 5. Is that the right amount? Yeah. Sorry, I had a little momentary freak out there. And now we get paid back the full amount. December 31st, 2033, they give us their $100,000 back. That's the idea of the bond. And we credit investment. We no longer have an investment. We have to rip up the piece of paper that says they owe us $100,000 because they don't anymore. So we credit investment in bonds. So there you go. 9.1a, we've solved part A and part B. And part C, or the bonus question, says recalculate the present value of the bond to verify the price of 97,327. This is finance math. So, present value of an annuity, present value of a lump sum. If you're feeling like I don't need to do present value stuff, you can just say goodbye. You can smash the like button and see you in the next video. But if you want to stick around for that, I'll do it two ways. I'm going to do one with a financial calculator, and then two, I'll show you how to do it by hand with lump sum table, or not tables, but formulas. So in my financial calculator, I'll pull it up in a second, but N, the number of periods, is going to be 3, of course. IY is the market rate of interest, which we said was 6%. PV, that's what we're going to be solving for. PMT is the regular payment, which was $5,000 positive. And FV is $100,000 we get at the end. BGN is if we had an annuity due. In other words, if the first payment happened on day one, it would be BGN on, but we have BGN off. And normally we're going to have BGN off. So it's whether it's an annuity due or not. Okay, so let me grab my financial calculator. Hold on a second. Where are you? Oh, it's hiding. I got weird things going on. Sorry. Little setup stuff. Let's do this and this. Is it there? Yeah, it's there. Okay, it's going to be just in front of my conventional calculator. Okay, so I put 3 in as N, 3 goes in as N, 6 goes in as IY. Nothing is PV. PMT goes in as a positive 5,000. 5,000 PMT. And 100,000 goes in as FV, 100,000 FV, and then I compute PV. I get 97327, 97327. Just double checking against the question. Yeah, 97327 is the number I was looking for. I did prove it with my financial calculator. Let's prove it, but with formulas. So remember what a bond is. It's just a series of cash flows. So here's our timeline. Time 0, how much do I have to pay for the bond? Well, that's the question. We think it's 97,327, but let's put it as a question mark. Time 1, after 1 year, they're going to give us $5,000. Year 2, move it over a bit, they're going to give us $5,000. And at the end of year 3, they're going to give us $5,000 plus they're going to give our $100,000 back. Now, we could discount these cash flows individually. We could go, okay, well, $5,000 divided by 1 plus the discount rate, the market rate of interest, 1.06 to the power of 1. 5,000 divided by 1.06 to the power of 2 for year 2, and 105,000 divided by 1.06 to the third power. And that's a good way to do it. Like, you can do it by hand, get the right answer. Annuities are often more than 3 years and more than 3 periods, and it would just be too much if we had, like, imagine 25 years. Present value of an annuity formula solves that. So let's use that formula for our annuity. And the annuity portion is the recurring payments, 5, 5, and 5. $100,000 is the present value of a lump sum formula, and it's the one divided by 1.06 to the 3. So let's do that. So we'll do the present value of our lump sum, which is $100,000 divided by 1.06, 1 plus the rate, to the number of years. We're discounting that back 3 years. So 100,000 divided by 1.06 to the third power. Got a little funny thing going on with my computer. $100,000. Actually, let's do 1.06 y to the x 3. 1.19. I go 1 over x times 100,000. And I get 83,962. 83,962. So we'll remember that number. My 6 went south. And now we'll do the second formula here. Present value of our annuity is the payment, which was $5,000, our recurring payment, times 1 minus 1 over 1 plus I, 1.06 to the power of n with power of 3 payments, all divided by 0.06. And again, maybe I'm missing some brackets along the way, but I'll do it properly. So I'll start with my exponent here, 1.06 to the power of 3 is 1.19. 1 over that, so 1 over x, 0.83. 1 minus that, so I put this negative plus 1. 0.16, that's my numerator. Divide by 0.06. 2.67, I'm going to multiply that by 5,000. And I get 13365. 13365. So the present value of my lump sum plus the present value of my annuity, 13365 plus 83962 equals 97327. Yes, 97327 was the number I was looking for. We got it. We proved it. So we've solved this one multiple ways. So just wrapping up here, we can do all the journal entries of a held to maturity bond, and we can recalculate the amount. In future videos, we are going to say, well, what happens if I don't intend to hold this bond to maturity? What happens if I want to trade it, right? What if I'm buying and selling bonds and I'm in the bond buying and selling business? What do I do then? Well, stay tuned for problems 9.2 and 9.3. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video. If you made it to the end, for goodness sake, smash the button, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye. The next video in our series is right up here, and if you want a supercut of all of the videos in this series, that's the one down below.